guys, welcome to another episode of Intention Attention. In front of me we have ChrisFoster. Fun fact. I used to work with Chris.
Did you say fun fat?
Fun fact.
Oh, fact. Okay.
Fact.
All right.
Yeah,
okay. Good. I was like, man.
Fun fact. Yes, Chris is fun and fat. You've lost some weight, actually.
I have.
You look
Yeah,
good.
I
You
did.
look really good.
Yeah, I learned by watching you.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Well, this house here, I worked on with Chris a while back, and it blows my mind to see just the strides that have come after Chris has gotten his hands on it. And it's been a really interesting story, a lot of interesting times in this house, and it's just cool to be back here again. Also, fun fact, we did Chris and Angela Huff.
Yep.
And you also worked on their house as well.
Yep. Built it.
So yeah, so it's pretty cool, seeing both of the homes go from nothing to this.
Absolutely.
And it's pretty awesome. For those that don't know Chris, why don't you fill them in a little bit about who ChrisFoster is?
Man, that's a big question. I am just an entrepreneur. I'm a kingdom-minded man. I desire to see the kingdom of God come forth in anything and everything that I do. So a lot of what I do is I transfer the gifts and the personality of who I am into what I do. So being able to see visions and like for these homes or this house, like I would come in and see a vision and of what the home could be. And so then I get to walk with the process of making this thing that is in a certain condition of brokenness or needing restoration, and I get to walk through the process of seeing it become to its most valuable potential, and so that is a process that I enjoy very much. I enjoy walking through the process of restoration, and not only in business but also with relationships with people I have, so I walk with a large group of people, I would say a large group, more than most, I would say. I have a very family-oriented group of people that we work with and walk with, and so I get to walk with them and see them speak into my life, and I get to speak into their life, and we get to do life together. So that's, I guess, nutshell, ChrisFoster.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, I'll touch on that relationship that you have with other people a little bit later on. But
okay.
Chris, how did you get started? I mean, what was that moment where you were just kind of sitting around and thought you wanted more, you wanted to do more, you had a desire to do more, and then Cornerstone General Contracting came to fruition? What was that moment?
Well, it was about 2001. I had a big kind of transition point in my life, and so I started working with a good friend of mine, and we did business together for a little while, and it was just maybe a year of that, and then the opportunity came to kind of start my own company. And so I had been I like to draw, I like to kind of if I'm going to name a company, I like to have something with, meaning behind it, not just ABC or 1, 2, 3, general contracting. No offense if you're ABC or 1, 2, 3 general contracting, but for me personally, I wanted something with meaning, and so I was just kind of sitting, and I just felt, Cornerstone just kind of came to mind, and I was like, man, what better name could there be for a restoration company and for a building company? And so kind of drew a picture of what was in my mind, and it had a good friend of mine that showed me how to start a company. So I went down and got my first DBA in 2001, and so it just kind of started from there, and the heart behind it was to, at that point in my life, I was young and just starting, so this would be my first business, but so obviously provision was a big part of it, but also just bringing integrity and, truth to what I was doing. Like I wasn't out to rob people or to take their money and run. I mean, we were there to do the job that we were hired for and to do it with excellence. And so that was the heart behind it. So we were representing the name Cornerstone, and so I would say that's probably the beginning, the cornerstone of Cornerstone, where it all started, right? So. Okay.
Now, before all this, you were a musician. Or still.
This is true.
Still
yeah.
are a musician.
Yes, I was an active musician. Yes, okay. Now just a closet musician.
No, you still get stuff. So you really didn't know. I mean, besides working with your partner before, correct? You really didn't know a whole lot about starting your own business, starting your own construction kind of thing. Were you working with your partner in construction before you got started? Okay.
Yes.
So you kind of had a little bit of an introduction to
Absolutely.
it. But as far as starting your own thing, you really went out there with both feet in and was just
not a clue. Not a clue.
Yeah.
Not a clue at all.
So I think that's really cool that you put yourself out there.
Absolutely.
Jump both feet in.
Yes.
And just kind of went for it. That is, I think, one of the biggest things that separates the successful from the people who want success is just that commitment to go out there and learn something.
Yes.
And to really, one of the things we talked about with Chris Huff, sorry,
yes.
Chris Huff and Chris and Angela Huff, was the fact that Chris really took the time and effort to align his daily routine and his learning and just his activities all aligned for what he wanted to do, which was architecture.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that sounds like you were doing the exact same thing. Like you really just took all your efforts and you put it into, just put all your ducks in a row, right?
Right.
And you did everything that you could to learn and to expand and to grow and to finally build Cornerstone General Contracting, which is awesome. I mean, I think that's really, really cool. So, like I said, I'm just kind of stuck on this house for a little bit, guys. I'm sorry, but it just blows my mind here. So, tell us a story about kind of how this house came to be. Kind of what was your situation and to where you are now to be in this house.
Well, I'm going to go back to what you were talking about. One of the things about vision, and it was kind of interesting. So in 2001, 2002, that was where I was really launching into the marketplace with Cornerstone, not having a clue. I didn't have a clue what I was doing in construction. I didn't come from a family with a construction background. I didn't come from a roofing background or general contractor, builder, nothing. But as I got involved in the restoration process, it was clear that there was a gift and a vision in me for that. I didn't have to work really hard to understand the things that I was doing. Now, I did work hard to learn them, but I guess what I mean is it made sense. It just clicked. It was like I already knew it. I just needed to read it so that I knew it kind of thing. And so as I began the process of growing in what I was doing, things just clicked. And so it started with, hail restoration, so the big hailstorm comes along and we replace roofs and everything else that gets damaged. We moved from there into like investment remodels and rehabs. And it was just kind of interesting because over the years, the Lord just kind of ushered along, next phase to next phase. And every time I moved into something new, the previous season had been the thing that I needed to know in order to move into that next season, which was maybe a little bigger than the last season, So we went from rehabbing to fire restoration. We went from fire restoration into building new construction homes, and then we went from there into custom homes, and then we went from there into commercial. And so it's kind of been a process and sort of just a leading of the previous season, And one of the things that I personally have always enjoyed is like and I say this is me, the mundane or like the everyday, day in, day out, same thing. I couldn't do that. So that's how I was geared. So the bigger the challenge, the more excited I am about it, right? So I remember my first fire restoration. It was a little 1,200 square foot home, right? And we had an opportunity to do it, and it was a 100-year-old home. And so I'm like, man, I'm nervous, but I'm like, I know I can do this. I got somebody behind me. I've got a plethora of relationships that I have access to. And so we went for it, and it was awesome, And from that, it has really led to a place where I really enjoy what I'm doing, And it's always something new, because every home, every building, every project is something different. So, and that moves into this project. So this is my personal home, and about 2.5 years ago, we got a call, and this home is actually a neighboring property to some of our closest friends, and basically spiritual family. They're kind of my pastors, and we've walked with them for about 12 years. And so their neighbor's home caught on fire because it was an older home, like built in the 70s, and I think it was just an electrical fire. And so those people, through their relationship with their neighbors, we were referred to them, and so they ended up hiring us. And so this home was kind of your typical 70s home. It had the paneling on the wall. I think it had wallpaper and things of that nature, sunken floors, and just all the stuff that they did in the 70s, right? So and it was a really neat process, because when I walked in and I started the process of measuring everything, there was a lot of favor with the insurance adjuster. There was a lot of favor with the homeowners. And so in essence, with this home, I had the opportunity to make suggestions. This is what I would do if it were mine, right? So I would take these walls down, I would level out these floors, I would do this, I would do that. And so everything along the way, my client was like, we love that, let's do that. They had things they wanted to do along the way as well, which were great. And so right at the time, and this is not everybody's story, but right at the time where we were finishing up, about a year previous to that, my wife and I had moved into a rental property. We sold our house, and we're kind of waiting for the next season. We were thinking we were going to build or something, and then we had an opportunity. These people decided they wanted to sell, and so I was like, well, all right, so here's the deal. Our landlord decided they didn't want to renew our lease, so I'd like to make your first offer before you put it on the market, So we were able to negotiate, and we got to buy this home next to some of our closest friends, and it was just a really neat thing, and in the process of doing this whole project, I did not know that I was building the home for my family, but everything that I suggested were things that I would have done if it were my own home. So it was a really neat thing I'm building my own home, which was really what was in my heart, and the whole time I was doing that, I'm actually doing it for our family. So it was a really, really neat God story in that. But so that's kind of the story behind this home. So
I think what I preach all the time is that elevating others is the fastest way for you to elevate yourself. And I sincerely believe that.
Absolutely.
You sincerely putting your heart and speaking of love and truth to somebody to help them get somewhere is the fastest way for you to get to where you need to go. And I'm thinking, if you were just any other person, I guess. I mean, I'm not bashing anybody else. I'm just saying that if you had the heart to maybe do the cheapest work, the one that would go the fastest, that you can recoup the most cost out of, and not put the best quality into. Sure. I mean, this wouldn't be your home.
Absolutely.
And the fact that you really sincerely wanted to help these people, and you said, "Hey, this is what I would do if it were mine."
Absolutely.
And I feel like more people need to approach things like that.
Absolutely.
Approach people like that, especially nowadays. I mean, it's just kind of crazy to hear and see the things that people are doing and saying to each other. It just kind of blows my mind. It's just another generation. But to hear that story is really awesome.
Absolutely.
I don't think I've heard that version of it from you.
Sure.
And I think that's just really cool because now you're in this whole, you're designing your own home in essence. You weren't planning that. It just happened like that.
Absolutely.
So I think that's awesome. Now, go back to what you were saying. You are in a daily walk with people whose ideals and whose hearts and really the way of thinking align with yours. How important is that to you, and how important was that to you in building Cornerstone and in just your personal relationships?
You know, being, I call it equally yoked, people that are kind of pulled in the same direction, like-mindedness, that is a huge thing in any business. You know, if you have somebody that's trying to go this direction and you're trying to go this direction, you're pulling against each other. So it's been a really neat walk over the last, where are we at? Is it 16, almost 17 years?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I haven't said that. I haven't said 17. That's amazing. You know, all along the way, the Lord has brought people that have worked with me, alongside of me, and it's been interesting. Some have come, some have gone, you know, but along the way, those relationships have helped me understand what it really means to be equally yoked, you know, to work alongside somebody that compliments you and doesn't resist you, you know. And I think it's really important in any business for there to be a place where you're challenged in relationships, but you know you're both headed in, you're all headed in the same direction. So that is a huge factor, I think, for any business is to have somebody that challenges them, but also, you know, somebody that's walking with them, not against them. You know, I don't know. It sounds kind of cliche, but it really is the truth, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really important for me. I mean, especially, I'm not old, but I'm older. You know,
Sure.
And realizing how important it is that the people you're associated with are really on the same page.
Absolutely.
And just the last, 5 years for me has really been about like what's important, you know, is who is going to not just build me up. So I don't want a yes man. I don't want a yes woman to always just be for me and all. Like, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And it feels good. But in the long run, I really want someone to tell me the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And really pour into me what their thoughts and what their true, sincere feelings are about something. And I feel like a lot of people, especially my generation and younger, are really going the opposite way. You know, they're really looking for people who just build them up.
Right.
And whenever that person says, hey, you know what, I don't think that's a good idea, they really discard them really quick, you know, without asking, hey, why don't you think that's a good idea? Or they just kind of think that person's out to get them.
Sure.
And I like I said, I feel like that is a huge proponent as far as getting to where you need to be.
Absolutely.
You know, your closest 5 friends are a reflection of you.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think 100% I agree with you.
You know, on that note, though, one thing I will say is I'm notorious for kind of letting things slide a little more than most. And part of that is, you know, that challenging in me. So if somebody is rubbing in a different direction, I am in no way saying that that's time to just cut ties with. There are times where I've had different people working with me, different relationships, and in that process, I learned so much about myself. You know, sometimes that resistance that I was feeling with that other person was really just what was going on in me. And so I find that, you know, it's like iron sharpens iron kind of thing, right? You know, when resistance comes, when difficulty comes, that really tests me as a man, as a person, as a business owner. And so in no way was I saying like to just discard anybody that resists you or is trying to go into a different relationship. And I think, you know, if some person is like, you know, they're wanting to do something very opposite. It may be that you're not supposed to be here, but just resistance in itself is good, and it's a good thing, and it's really purposeful in growing in business and in just a personal walk, I'd say. So just
what would you tell somebody who feels like they are not accomplishing their purpose? They're not going after the goals. They feel very complacent. They don't feel content. I mean, what kind of advice would you give that person?
I think we were all created to do something with our life. We all have a purpose, and a lot of us really struggle in believing that we do have purpose and believing that we do have what it takes. And so a lot of times a complacent person is really just a person who just hasn't had anybody really just tell them who they are, that you really do have what it takes to go out and go after what's in your heart, And so if there are things, like for me, there were things in my heart, and if I just didn't go after them, they would have never come to fruition. But I think, it's really important to know what's in your heart and to have relationships with people. That's probably the most important thing you can have as a business owner, is to have somebody in your life that can speak into your life concerning what you're after. And when somebody is able to tell you that, man, that's good, you need to go after that, and you have reinforcement, you have encouragement to do those things, that's huge. And so relationship is really important, but knowing what's in your heart and finding that and searching those things out in yourself, huge. So, because we were all created with purpose. We were all created to do something that only we as individuals can do in this life. Nobody else can be me. Nobody else can be you. So when we set out to do what's in our heart, I think we're fulfilling a greater purpose in the world, and there may be something that, somebody out there maybe has the cure for cancer, or maybe has just something that's going to solve a big global dilemma. But if nobody's there to tell them, hey, go after this, they may never come to realize it, so it's huge. Go after your dreams, go after what's in your heart.
On the flip side of that, Chris, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us and do an interview with us. This is great. On the flip side of that, if you don't have someone to encourage you, if you don't have that person or person speaking into your life who will do it sincerely and out of love and out of truth, then what should you do?
It's a good question. Not to go, super elementary, but books are good, right? Local churches are good. I mean, I'm not here to plug the local churches, but there are a lot of organizations out there that have business development, organizations involved in what they're doing. It doesn't even have to be a local church, but just business conferences, things of that nature. Go, get inspired, figure out what that fire is inside of you so that you can run after it. Because if you don't have anybody to tell you who you are, you're probably never going to believe it. So what I would say to that is you need to go find somebody to tell you who you are. You need to search that out, because we weren't designed to be alone. We're not meant to walk alone. And honestly, I would just say you can't do it alone. You need that support structure of relationships and people speaking into your life. So that's probably what I would say.
That's awesome.
I think it is what I said. So yes,
I got it on camera.
Yeah.
You can't take it back.
Yeah.
It is done. Chris, thank you so much for taking time to business schedule once again. And how can people get a hold of you? How can people get in contact with Cornerstone General Contracting?
Well, you can go to our website. It is www.cgctx.com. You can email us at info@cgctx.com, or you can call us at 817-715-7861. those are 3 ways to get a hold of us. And so I'm sure that we'll probably put this at the bottom of the link down there.
Probably not. I'm not that fancy.
Oh,
on
dang.
YouTube.
What is that then?
I don't know. Well,
Okay.
So,
I don't know. I saw somebody do that on YouTube. I thought it was funny.
yeah, it's
You could put it up here. But no? Okay.
I'll try. I'll get the editing
I'm just
guys
making
on it,
suggestions,
and-
man. I don't, you know.
I'm not that cool yet. I just started.
Well, I'll help you.
Well, guys, thank you so much for
need
tuning
friends.
in. And I'm going to walk around this house a little bit and show you guys a little bit of what's going on in here. And man, do you have some before pictures?
I do. Yes, I do. I've got
some
some.
before pictures in this, so you guys can kind of see
Absolutely.
the,
Yeah.
the before and aftermath. That
Yeah.
would be really awesome. Chris, thank you so much.
You bet. You bet.